Sie hören Sport und Musik.
Das Spiel ist aus! Deutschland ist Weltmeister!
In a world where fans fight over whether to call it football, or soccer, two German men defy the odds and call it Fußball. Bringing you inside the German-American football experience. And now, here are your hosts, the Schnitzel Boys.
Oh! Oh, hello there!
Hi.
Well, I didn't see you come in. It's the American Soccer Playoff Halloween edition of the Schnitzel Boys.
Yep.
Got your brothers in the East and West Coast. We were there on the ground feeling although it's Halloween, it feels like Christmas time in this part of the world, because this is the most exciting, arguably, the most exciting time of American soccer. It's playoff season, playoff fever. Bjorn, you crying? You crying or what? What do we got here?
I'm pretty sad, yeah. I mean,
why are you so sad? Why are you so sad?
Not gonna lie. Yeah. I mean, that was I was in I almost didn't make it to the game. I was I have this job that didn't end until 5 a.m. Sunday morning in this case.
Oh, crap.
And so it was I was really not feeling it, so I was briefly considering not going, but my niece wanted to go and my friends wanted to go, so shout out to Mark and Nick and Hannah for dragging for lifting me up, and I'm glad I went, but it was hard. It was a hard I mean, we knew going in that this wasn't going to be a lukewarm experience. The Philly people were mad, and it was either going to be we were going to be delighted by winning the Eastern Conference trophy on their field 2 years in a row. That was option one, and option B, I guess, was this. was what happened. But if you were, we were saying this in the car afterwards, if you were writing a script and you wanted to inflict maximum pain on the New York City supporting characters, this is how you would draw it. This is how you would draw it up. Because,
well, two things. A, it's cool you went with the whole crew. Was your son with you there? Was Max there too?
He did not come. No, Max had other plans. He had some other plans.
But you went with your niece. That's nice. She wanted to go.
Yeah, my niece is visiting. She lives in Oxford. In Oxford, England. This was another funny. Thing that happened. I ordered do you know who the Panini Cheapskates are?
No, I know what Panini is. What's the Cheapskates?
Panini is the sticker album that comes out for the World Cup. And there's these two people. I think they're a couple in England. These two people, they call themselves the Panini Cheapskates, and they started by badly drawing in the player into their album because they didn't want to pay for the stickers, and they have sort of leveraged this into a very funny kind of Twitter account and merchandise operation where they just draw, and really badly, I mean self-proclaimed, without any talent, drawing these games. Anyway, they were offering a World Cup kind of schedule poster, and so I ordered this, and when it arrived, my niece said, "Oh, I live on that street." She lives on the same street in Oxford. She was looking at the package, the tube that arrived with this poster, and it had a return address in it. And apparently the Panini Cheapskates and my niece
her neighbors
live on the same street in Oxford, England. I mean, that's like, what do you make of that? Random.
What I make of that is it's 6 degrees of Bjorn Schnitzel. Okay, can't
apparently, yeah, I do have unexpected connections in the soccer world.
I keep freaking ask you, how is your Panini sticker album going?
It's done. It's complete.
Even with the Messi, you got everything.
Everything.
Isn't the Messi card like a $300 card or something like that?
What? The card? No, these are just stickers. The
stickers
that you put...
worth $300 or something.
What? I don't.
I think you have a very valuable sticker.
Not the one that I have.
Okay, I guess there's like a gold version, right? Are there different words?
They have. I mean, they have. Oh yeah. They now have sort of this artificial scarcity where they have different colored borders.
Right.
For
I
different.
think it's the messy gold. Messy gold
okay. All right. Well, I don't. I didn't pay attention. I was swapping with a guy from Brazil, and he said, "Oh, mine have a different background." I'm like, "That's fine. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't mind if it's different colors or it's fine. It all adds to the sort of variety of it." Yeah, no, it's done. It's complete.
That's very cool. I couldn't find one. All the Walgreens around here just have empty boxes of where the albums used to be.
I have an extra album. You want me to send it to you?
Maybe. Do you want to give it to your son or something?
No, we've decided we needed one per family. It's not a cheap, I mean, I understand. That's why I understand the idea of the Panini cheapskates, because it's not cheap to buy all these. Right. To buy all these stickers, it's not a cheap thing. So I mean, it is fun, but
maybe. But I've got so much going on in my life. You know what I am looking for, though. You know what I am looking for, though, Bjorn, is a World Cup preview magazine. ESPN used to do great ones, but they don't have the World Cup anymore, so they don't do them. And then Sports Illustrated used to do them great, but I have no information. I don't think they're doing one either. Like they're next because of the way the World Cup is. They're doing a big NBA preview special instead. So I'm just like, where am I going to get my World Cup preview?
I guess Print Instead, huh?
And I used
to always get the kicker preview.
I was going to say, I'm looking into that or 442, the British version.
Right.
But again, it's just very Anglo-centric. But it's still, because we're in the same group. USA is the same group. And that I could probably get at a magazine shop here in the States somewhere. Where kicker, I mean, where am I going to get a kicker?
No, I would have a family member send that. I would not try to find it here. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm on the hunt for a good World Cup guide. It might end up being the 442. Soccer America, you used to, I don't know if you print hard copy, if you print World Cup previews, I don't know, do it up. And then there's a lot of these magazines I just don't trust. I think this is called World Soccer Magazine and stuff, where it's like, I don't know where they're from or anything about them. So anyway, I'm on the hunt for a good World Cup preview Heftchen, a little magazine, like anywhere else in the world on magazine shops, there'll be a dime a dozen. Germany, Italy, England, Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, probably. Maybe I'll go down to Tijuana. How about that? Or I'll go to like a Mexican. I don't have to go to Tijuana. I'm in LA. I go to like a Mexican magazine store. Right. Maybe they'll have like a little World Cup preview. It'll be in Spanish.
Yeah, I hear here in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. There's a couple of Polish stationery magazine stores. I could look there. But if it was in Polish, it really wouldn't do me much good, I guess. But maybe, I'll see.
Maybe they'll have a kicker. You know where you can get a kicker, by the way? On the Upper East Side of Germany, in Yorkville. I think I bought kickers there before. It's a little bit of a trek. You got to get a train on the Upper East Side.
I was going to say that is not. That's not in my usual purview. Yeah.
You'd rather have someone just mail it to you.
I'd rather. It's easier for me to get my brother to mail it to me than to go to the Upper East Side.
Honestly, probably, definitely. Just an option.
No, that's a good call. I have not been up there in a long time. I would be interested to see what it's like these days.
It's Klein Deutschland, a little Germany.
Schaller and Weber, yeah.
Schaller and Weber, they have this
Heidelberg restaurant. I've been there.
Great restaurant. And then around the corner from those two is like a German magazine shop. I think you can maybe get a kicker or a sport bill.
Well,
there's some import stuff.
Maybe I will visit.
Don't quote me on that. I used to trek up there to get my Deutsches Fanta because I love Fantasie. Fanta is short for Fantasy. It's the German. Yeah.
It's short for Fantasie. I didn't know that. That's weird. A drink named Fantasie.
Do you know the story of Fanta?
No, please tell me.
Little my precursor.
Anything to distract from my playoff misery. Please tell me. Yeah. Tell the story of Fantasie.
We only have 2 games to talk about. We got 45 minutes, so
got plenty of time. Oh, I have a lot to say though.
I know. We'll do this Fantasie section, and then we'll work our way back to the thing. So Fanta is a German company. It was a subsidiary of Coke out of Atlanta, a big American soda company. I don't know if you're familiar with Coke, but they're worldwide.
I am. I vaguely, yeah.
Vaguely, yeah. They're all over the place. Anyway, during the war, back in the day, Germany had an embargo, so no materials made its way from Coke of USA to Coke of Germany. So the associate head of Coke of Germany was a German dude, and they were totally disconnected. And they're like, listen, we're a soda company. We're not getting our materials. We got to do something. We got to figure out something. So they scrounged together all the crap they had, which was primarily out of apples and stuff like that, apples and oranges and whatnot. And then they turned that into this drink, which became Fanta, which is what we know today as Fanta, based on the materials they had. And they did a national campaign trying to name the thing. And there was an audience vote of super fans that put in. And they all voted. I think they voted on the name Fantasy, as in like it's a fantasy drink or something. And then they shortened it to Fanta, and that's the story of Fanta. And then when the World War was over, the Coke of America called Coke of Germany, like, you still exist? We had no idea what happened to you guys. I'm like, yeah, we're out. We had to make this thing called Fanta. Check it out. And then Fanta was added to the Coke repertoire of drinks, and then Germany got to get regular Coke again, and they reconnected, and all was well with the world. Although the recipe for Fanta in the United States is totally different than the recipe for Fanta in Europe. In Europe, it's more of like an orange juicy, like Orangina type thing, where here it's just straight up crush style orange soda. It's very different taste. Less exciting here. I prefer the German recipe.
Yeah, it's also slightly less. It's a little less sweet than the version.
Right,
yeah.
Right. But I'm a big soda head, and German Fanta, you can get it at World Market, and you can get it on the Upper East Side of New York. And a certain import place you can get it, and it's a delicious little treat. Right. Delicious little treat. Yeah. Anyway, that's the story of Fanta. Anyway, we had 2 soccer games to go to. Okay, you want to do LAFC Austin? Want to do it in order first? Do you want to do it in?
Sure.
Or do you want to? Then we'll end with your experience. So, I did not go to I went to the LFC LA Galaxy game. It was a lot of fun. I did not go to the LAFC Austin game because it was $200, and it's like, I'm not made of $200 a pop, man. Especially if I'm going to the MLS Cup, I gotta save somewhere. So
you're not made of $200.
Now, granted, morning of, I think I found an $80 ticket, so I could have gone. However, my work schedule, you said you work till 5 a.m. I'm always working till 6 or 7 a.m. because I work graveyard.
Yeah.
So I said, I'm going to chill. I work till 7 a.m. I'm going to go home, nap, and then hang out, watch the games on TV at home. So that's what I did. I watched LAFC Austin at home, the comfort of my own home, and Austin just had nothing to offer, right? They were pretty blanked, Yeah. LAFC ran away with that game. And the only major talking points I have is, well, a couple, I guess. One is Gareth Bale. People are claiming he has a legit injury. I think if he gave more of a crap, he'd be playing. I think he's really just setting himself up for Wales.
But what's the strategy there, though? You think?
What do you mean? He doesn't want to. Gareth Bale doesn't want to get injured. And he wants to stay healthy for Wales.
But he has played so little. I mean, people were like, "Oh, he's coming to LA to get fit for the World Cup." Played. Did you see him? Didn't you see him running up and down that field in that little trainer of his? I mean,
that's how he gets fit.
He's
never going to get on the field.
You need some competitive, right? If you're not going to.
He doesn't want to get injured. I mean, the rule is his thing isn't strong enough, so if he makes a strong kick, he would injure himself. So to be clear, like someone like Alejandro Bedoya, with his dirty hips, ran on the field for 45 minutes. Gareth Bale, who's probably vastly healthier than Alejandro Bedoya.
He looked like he was hurt, though. I mean,
right. We'll save that for later.
Right. Sorry.
I'm just saying that if you want to play, you can play. If Gareth Bale wanted to play, if he cared about LAFC, if he cared about winning, these ain't friendlies. These are conference finals. He would play, but he's not because he wants to make sure he's healthy for Wales versus USA on November 21st, which is whatever. It's his prerogative.
All right,
but they're paying for that.
Yeah, I mean he was famous, right, in Madrid for prioritizing Wales and golf over Madrid.
Surprise, surprise! LA didn't focus him up. anymore.
Did not rejigger his priorities. Yeah,
No.
I mean, I guess all for the best, right? Not a problem.
Yeah,
not a
LAFC
problem.
don't care.
Not a problem in the sense they have plenty of attacking options.
LAFC
And the Austin defense that looked pretty solid against FC Dallas. You just knew after that first goal, you knew things were going to open up, and LA was going to score a couple more on the break, and that's exactly what happened.
Austin had nothing to offer the entire game. I didn't think of one where it's like, oh, Austin might do this. It was just LAFC the whole way. LAFC is the deepest team in MLS history, right?
I mean,
they've got someone good to go. They've got 5 great center backs. They've got 6 world-class forwards. I mean, they've got players in every.
Who are their 5 great center backs?
I don't know their names. The center backs, Giorgio Chiellini and the Ghanaian kid who came on or something.
Chiellini was only good for 45 minutes. They got a lot of players.
Then they replaced him with an Ecuadorian international or something. You know what I mean? Like they've got depth. I mean, you know what? Do you disagree with what I'm saying?
They got depth. I don't. I mean, I'm mulling.
If they take off Carlos Vela, they put on Gareth
I'm
Bale.
mulling over this. I'm mulling over this idea of the deepest team in the history of. I mean, I think considering how deep they are, supposedly, Steven Cherundolo sort of keeps running out the same people. I don't know. That'd be my counterpoint to that idea.
I mean, right. I need to like look at every team in MLS history, but you know, I've got a decent memory, and I can't think of a team much deeper than LAFC. They've got world class players. Injured doesn't bother them. They still have world class starting lineup, and then their bench is also. They've got World Cup winners not World winners. They have World Cup contenders on the bench. How many MLS clubs have more than one World Cup participant sitting on their bench? Very few. You know, I look at my New York Red Bulls.
Yeah, they are.
I love that bench.
No, right.
Yeah. Our starting lineup wouldn't even make their bench. And in a team of parity, that's saying something. They did some really good.
Certainly won't not looking to downplay their roster. They did incredible to assemble this much talent in a relatively short amount of time too. They had a really good. The last 2 transfer windows were incredible for them. That's definitely full credit.
And even their younger guys, the young Ghanaian guy comes off the bench, scores a great goal. He's good to go.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, look at that kid. Like we would love to have him as our starting number 9.
It's I mean, a lot of this comes back to the midfield. I feel like they just have the most complete and complementary group of midfield players.
Kellen Acosta, even Latif Blessing can't get a sniff.
And Latif Blessing is lost his spot, and they're looking good.
Deep, deep squad. And then as far as on the field, even though it was 3-0, 2 big calls. I just did Austin FC? They should have gotten a penalty, right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong? They should have gotten a penalty.
I thought so.
The referee went to the VAR board. He looked at the video. And what was he looking at? I'd love to be explained as to what he saw. He said no.
Well,
like, no
I
penalty,
think...
Move on. The foot he missed the ball, and one defender's foot stepped on the other foot. And 9 times out of 10, anywhere else, that'd be a penalty kick.
It would be, yeah. I was surprised by that, too. I think there was some... how players fall... It's really a big. It's now really taken into consideration in a lot of places, and I don't really fully get why. If you get hit,
he's a referee. He's too good for that. Go to the screen, look at the thing that we saw. Like he missed the ball, foot on foot, contact. Took him
but
down
he did.
The box,
he went to
penalty.
the screen. He went to the screen. He said no. And I was surprised too. And they were down 2-0 at that point. Yeah, so it would that would have definitely changed things.
Then they got a great goal there at the end to make it 4-0. And the refs are like offside. And we saw a quick replay. We're like, who's offside? And then that was the end of it, and they just moved on. And I'm like, why was that goal called off. I'm just like, again,
No, that one I think
big.
was legit, right?
I don't know. I'd love to know. They showed a quick replay on the TV. The TV announcers were like, I don't see what the ref sees, and I didn't see what the ref said. It all looked good to me. And then they're like, and then they literally John Champion was like, well, it doesn't matter anyway. They won 3-0. So that can affect the game, but they move on. But it's like, again, I think that was a good call. I don't know. I just don't understand. Like, it didn't affect the game. LAFC dominated the game and they won. Right. However, the game probably should have been 4-1, not 3-0. Like, I don't call the moments right. I don't know. What happens if that moment mattered more? I don't get why I don't know. I don't get it sometimes. So in my opinion, there were two pretty iffy ref calls I'd love some explanation on, which kind of goes back to the Christina Uncle thing. Those calls were really confusing in the Champions League, and Christina Uncle explained it in a way where it's like, oh, okay, now I get it, right? There was that handball in the box. If you look very closely, it's the first handball.
It's the first one. That's what was weird about that, because then it hits the guy on the shoulder, and you're like, "That's not his hand."
No, it is.
But that is not what the. But that one is very, very. It was sort of hard to see, especially because you weren't focused on it because you were looking at the second.
But we had a referee break it down.
Yeah, explain it.
You know.
I mean, I always feel like this is kind of the announcer's job to break this down. I think a lot of announcers, especially in the Premier League, I notice this, keep themselves willfully ignorant of these things and are like, "What is that? I don't get it." And it's like, well, I mean, it can be figured out most of the time.
The Champions League broadcast. Oh, we didn't even talk about that. The Champions League broadcast by CBS in Brooklyn, which was amazing in my opinion. I love how they did all that. It was so pretty, a backdrop right there on the Brooklyn Promenade. Good job, CBS. Real quick, I'm gonna give you a round of applause.
They're doing a good job with the Champions League coverage. Yeah, it's true.
But it is a bunch of like World Cup winners being like, I don't get what's the rule, you know. Yeah. And then Christina Uncle explaining it to them. And you're right, they're paid analysts. They should read the book, right?
It's like, I mean, just know this stuff, right? I mean, it's not. It's not like. It's not rocket science, and the things do, and the rules do keep changing, and I mean, in this case, I think this was genuinely confusing. I mean, this is kind of one of those times where it is complicated, and these are sort of wrinkles of the rules that don't usually come up, like how much of that penalty kick is still allowed to commence. You know, those things. I don't expect. Those are the finer points. I don't expect anyone to know, but like sometimes. People are just like, I don't understand what is happening, or like this should be reviewed. It's like everything gets reviewed. There's people whose entire job is to look at these things. It's not like they decide to not look at it. If you disagree with something, that's fine. There's always subjectivity. There's always certain it's never it's rarely black and white.
What happens when he looks at it and he comes with the wrong call, like he did Austin?
Well, you're saying it's wrong. He's saying like, oh, he went down too easily. He's saying.
So here we go. The Harry Kane one's also complicated because people are still disagreeing over that. The referee explained it with the whole behind the ball but in front of the player nonsense. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. Anyway,
nonsense.
Just stuff where people. I know on the ESPN FC, Frank Leboeuf still arguing that it wasn't a goal, even though so. Because it's like, when I was a player, I was taught X, Y, and Z or whatever, But anyway, don't need to get into that. How would you feel if soccer adopted an NFL-style approach where the referee had a microphone in his face, and when he was done looking at VARs, he announced to the whole crowd, he's like, a non-aggressive penalty, foot on the ball, it's a penalty. You know what I mean? Like he said it out loud. So everyone knew exactly what he was saying. I'm wondering if that would appease the fans more. Because I think the biggest thing that fuels anger and argument and yelling is the silence from the referee. It's the referees just saying, this is it. You know what I mean? Without offering explanation. And it leads to all this rhetoric and yelling and blah, 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 blah. If a referee explained it, he's like, Harry Kane, offside. The ball was behind this line, but he was in front of that line, as can be clearly seen by the thing. That's the rules. Fertig ist es. It's done. If it's announced that way, then people would be less upset because what are you going to argue? You just explain the black and white rules to you on the call.
My response to that is, they're not they're not black and white. A lot of the time, it's subjective. A lot of penalty, especially when it comes to penalty decisions, when it comes to fouls, there's contact, and then people go down. The attacker is also incentivized to go down very easily. So if it's just contact, if any kind of contact in the box is enough for a penalty, then there'd be a lot of penalties. So it's always going to be a subjective decision. Is this contact enough to bring him down? Is he going down to whatever? There's not a line. With offside, there's going to be, at some point, technology will get to the point where that could be automatic. It's like, because the offside thing is black and white. If you're even, you're good. If you're not, you're offside.
They are doing that.
And they're doing that. So we're So we're gonna, and that's gonna get perhaps somewhat automated in the World Cup. We're gonna see how that goes. So that could be a black and white kind of a decision. But other stuff, there's always subjectivity. What is a foul? What is a penalty? A penalty, a foul should be a foul anywhere on the field, but that's never the case. You have a much higher threshold in the penalty because the punishment is so high. Like a whatever 10% chance turns into a 75% chance when you get a penalty call. So there is a much higher threshold for the referee. That's always going to be the case, and it's always going to be subjective. You're never going to eliminate subjectivity from that. And that's one. And two is people always going to be mad. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you're always gonna be upset if it goes against you. You want it to not be true. And so, I mean, we saw this yesterday. Again, jumping ahead a little, we saw this yesterday with the first.
Well, I think we're good, right? LAFC Austin, LAFC dominate, LAFC hosting the final. I will be there. Stefan Schnitzel got tickets. I bought it through the Philadelphia fan group. I got it through there, so I'm going to be wearing Philly colors and hang out with my Philly boys and drinking beers with the Philly boys, even though I live in LA.
What the fuck? Have you no principles?
It was less than half the price of the LA tickets. Less than half. LAFC tickets were $600. Isn't that crazy? Okay. Would you pay $600 for a soccer game?
If it was my team, it was the MLS Cup, I would probably.
Actually. Yeah, but I'm a neutral. But this is what they did. This is what they did. Real quick.
$600. $600 is a lot.
It's fucking excessive. It's a lot. Anyway, this is what they did. MLS Cup, they did the ticketing, and all the LAFC season ticket holders, no matter who they were, including the ones from next year, by the way, ones who didn't have seats this year, all got pre-sale dibs on 4 seats each, no matter how many seats they had, whether it was 1 or 2.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that nuts?
How do they even do that? Do they not have that many? How many season ticket holders do they have?
Like I said, they must have oversold the shit out of it. But the reason I bring it up is because
that's wild.
When the pre-sale was done, it's gray market, baby. It's just people trying to make a buck. They're just trying to break even with the season tickets. So everyone has 4 seats. They're selling them at $600 a pop. That's LAFC for you. So I'm just like, well, screw these. They've been trying to do this all playoffs. These fans have just been using their seats to make money. And it's like, just buy the ticket face value, watch the game, and let other fans buy the tickets face value to watch the game. Not everything has to be a freaking business. Well, anyway.
Welcome to America. But
the LAFC could do better.
So then instead you decided to take a spot away from a diehard, lifelong Philly fan for their first MLS Cup experience.
No. I went on the Philly boards. I like Philly. I really appreciate Philly because Philly does things right. Philly is what the New York Red Bulls are supposed to be.
Ooh.
Yes, they are.
Not today. Don't tell me today about how Philly's doing everything right. Next week.
We'll talk. All I'm trying to bring up is that I'm not like, I appreciate Philly. I'm from Philly, 6 degrees of Stefan Schnitzel. I lived there as a kid. I'm a big Phillies fan, big 76ers fan. I have a connection to Philly. It's also the team the Germans are on. Don't bet against Germans. If a sporting club with a German sport director and a Kai Wagner, Leon Flach is playing, Don't bet against them. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, they all. I emailed them like, hey, season ticket holders, I know you like it's gonna be a small fan group, and one of you buy me. How does this work? And someone sent me to a link to some third-party service that organizes all the Philly fan trips, and they had a great package with a tailgate and ticket package. I bought that, and I'm going to take the night off work. I'm going to tailgate with food and booze with a bunch of fans in the morning at 9 a.m. because the game's at noon, and I'm going to go and I'm going to watch the game, I think, from the Philly supporter section. Now, you know what's funny, or not funny, but you know what's crazy about this game is, the LAFC Stadium is right next to the LA Memorial Coliseum. And the LA Memorial Coliseum that day is hosting the big mega USC homecoming game. USC football.
Wow.
It's going to be 100,000 fans that day.
Oh, so
MLS Cup is happening. Yeah, there's no parking for any soccer fans that day. And parking is crazy already without the restrictions. So not only do I have a ticket to that, I'm going to have to take the bus there or something. So in typical MLS fashion, they probably should have moved it a day. I don't know why they were adamant on keeping it on that Saturday. We should move it up to Sunday or something.
Broadcast, man. That's true,
but
USC
spot. Broadcast wins. The better broadcast is 30 feet to the left. So, just change it to a different day. I don't know. So it's going to lead to some logistical nightmares because there's going to be a lot of people on. You've been there. It's like a city block with 2 or 3 stadiums there, and it's just going to be packed of USC.
What time is the USC thing?
It's at 7:30 that night, so it's later. That's why it's so early.
It'll be.
But there'll be tailgating all day. All parking lots are given to them. So anyway, with all that being said, I was able to get my hands on a package. Still a little rich for my blood, but when am I ever going to get a chance to go to MLS Cup? It's in my town. I don't have to fly. I don't need hotels. There's a tailgate with food. I'm going to try to load up on as much food as I can. And we'll see what kind of ticket this is.
Get your
money I'm going to support with my Philly brethren, and I'm gonna cheer, and I'm gonna have a good time at MLS Cup. All right, so now we did that. We did my ticketing rant. For crying out loud, like LAFC is doing this thing where all their season ticket holders that are no-shows, they're taking their season tickets away from them, and I like that because clearly they're just people who buy it and try to resell it off the gray market, and they really just want to give the tickets to fans who want to come, and that's what they need to be doing, and I support that. So they need to do measures against that. In an MLS Cup final like this, I feel fans should just be given the seats they had, right? They took all their seats away and gave them 4. It was very weird how they did that.
Well, they have. I mean, this is also in my supporter, in my season ticket contract that I'm going to get seats for every playoff game except MLS Cup. They have to reshuffle. So probably they're doing that to appease the season ticket holders because they can't have their regular tickets because of press. There's they have to just shuffle people around.
Well, season ticket holders are pissed. They're like, we pay $1 billion for these seats. It's the best game in our life. I want my seat again. I'm like, why don't Yeah.
Well, read the small print. That's what they told you when you signed up. Anyway, we had earlier the last LAFC thing we had earlier. We're hearing from Michael, who waves the German flag in the LAFC section, and he was explaining because I was wondering this. I was looking at the why is somebody with German flag? There's no German players on the team, right? As far as I'm aware,
there should be.
There should be, and he's saying he fell in love. He fell in love with LAFC when he attended the Dortmund game. He's been a Bayern fan.
There was a big Dortmund LAFC.
He's been He's been a Bayern fan. He was born in Germany, but he moved here when he was very young, and it represents his German pride, similar to gay pride. He says, El Salvador Mexican. It's true. A lot of people from other countries, they wear their shirts, they bring their flags, they represent their countries in the soccer stadium, regardless of whether or not the particular team really even represents that. And so he likes to do that with the German flag. He says it's German pride. He's not a nationalist. I just think that's interesting because we are so, as Germans, or I don't know what you grew up here. You may have a different sensibility. For me, it's like I take notice when this happens. It's like, oh, is this okay for us to do? We have this sort of fractured sense of national pride, and so it catches my eye. I'm like, oh, there's somebody waving a German flag for no apparent reason. What is happening? But good for him. I was happy to hear from him, and it was nice for him to explain itself.
As an American with American mentality, I have the total opposite mentality. I kind of had to learn that the hard way. Not the hard way, but like, I'm German by background, but I grew up internationally. I grew up here in the States. I had a handful of German friends growing up, but not too many. I grew up pretty American. And, America is a patriotism. July 4th, red, white, and blue, baby. It's pride for your country.
Yeah. The flag is everywhere.
Flag's everywhere.
That is not the case in Germany in general.
Germany's the opposite, and I'm here to tell Germans. I'm here to tell Germans, the new generation, show a little pride in your country, man. It's okay. You're allowed to be happy of who you are. You do good things, all right? People make mistakes. Everyone's made mistakes. America's made mistakes. I don't like the idea that like it's amazing that Germany's won a World Cup with how little they celebrate themselves. But it's fine. Wave a flag. I support it. I support the flag. Michael is an honorary Schnitzel boy in my arms. In my eyes.
In your arms.
I come on low strong sometimes.
I know, very much so. I don't know. It doesn't always work, but when it works, it really works.
He wants to stick me to 32-52. So I have a choice. Do I want to be in the LAFC 32-52, or am I going to stick with my original?
I think you've already. I'm uncomfortable with your flexibility as to who you support.
Is
it the Red Bulls? Is it the LAFC, Philly, whatever? Oh, they got the cheaper package. I'll support Mussolini. It's no problem. Is there free food?
Come on, I've got a lie. The rule. This is it. I'm a New York Red Bulls fan who loves MLS, who lives in LA, who wants to get my hands the most reasonable access to MLS Cup final in my backyard, and that's what I did. Okay, I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to root for the Philly fans, but I'm a neutral. It's a win-win for me. If LAFC wins, yay, my hometown team wins. If Philly wins, good on them. I have a lot of respect for how they operate. There you go.
I guess since you've lived everywhere, you can support anyone.
I lived in Philly for 6 years. I lived in LA for 2 years.
Yeah.
There you go. But the other thing is, as a German American, who loves European things, LAFC and Philly Union, which club do I identify with more, do you think? Philly Union, right? Kai Wagner. They got Leon Flach. They've got our neighbors like Daniel Gazdag, and Hungarians are not too far off. They're part of the German culture. Ernst Tanner, who's the sport director from Red Bull, doing his thing. None of that's going to LAFC. We got Steve Cherundolo, sure.
I guess this sort of implies that that how you're choosing your team is sort of a rational. I think it's
as opposed to what, location based?
No, well, location or like just an emotional thing. I don't know, like you.
It's based on location. Are you an NYCFC fan because you were in Boston and you chose NYCFC?
No, but. Well, yeah, location is important, but it's also then it becomes just an emotional thing. I couldn't tell you. There's no German. I mean, there's Alfredo Morales, who I guess who qualifies as German, but it's not like, oh, there's somebody else. I don't like Liverpool's Jurgen Klopp as the coach, or.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Well, I leaned I'm pretty neutral. Let's just say it this way: I'm pretty neutral in general. I like when Jurgen Klopp wins. I like when Liverpool wins. I root for Jurgen Klopp. I root for Timo Werner. I root for Americans and Germans all the way. I don't know. I always root, but I'm a New York Red Bulls fan. That's really not going to change. There's been a lot. They just hired a new player scout. They just did a press release about getting a new number 9 for the new year.
Yeah, they had sort of a weird. If we want to talk about the Red Bulls, they had sort of a weird press conference, right?
Sure.
The Sportdirektor had like an end of season thing, and it was a little odd.
Yeah, he had to explain how Germans behaved. Because people are like, hey, Gerhard Struber said this. And he's like, listen, Europeans talk this way. Here in the United States, people are more positive and more guarded. You have to explain the difference between how Europeans talked and how Americans talked. And it just, as a German American like me, it makes me laugh my ass off. Because it's like, I already knew that. I love how Struber talks. I love how Schneider talks. Now we have Sebastian Drausel, our new player scout, right from Germany, right off the boat. you know, it's fine. You know, Mateschitz is dead. The future of Red Bull is still kind of uncertain. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. But Jochen Schneider did admit that they need to fix their number 9. It's like, we need to fix our attacking thing. That's awesome. So he mentioned that. But what does that mean? Does that mean signing some second division player? Does that mean signing Luis Suarez? Does that mean signing Joseph Martinez? Does that mean signing a hot South American? You know, what does that mean? We'll see what solving number 9 means this offseason. So we'll take a look. Anyway, we're dilly-dallying here, man. We're dilly-dallying and dilly-dallying.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think
Tell me, you drove to Philly.
We've lost momentum. We've lost momentum.
All I'm going to say, well, the game was crazy. The game was crazy because it was kind of like, 60 minutes, the back and forth, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, or it was mainly Philly, right? NYCFC didn't have much to offer in the first half. And all of a sudden, Maxi Morales opened up.
It's pretty even. I thought it was
not even close to being even. Not even close to being even in the first half. NYCFC had not even close to a chance, and Philly almost scored like 3 times. Unless you watched a different. What game am I watching? What am I talking about? Maybe I'm talking about. What were the opportunities in the first half?
I thought the first half was pretty nervy. There weren't a lot of chances on either end, but I thought it was pretty even. We had more possession, and they scored an offside goal that was offside, and that was.
Okay. Yeah, it was 50-50. Let's just say it was pretty 50-50. Granted,
I thought it was pretty even. I didn't think what opportunities did Philly have?
Well, I mean, opportunities. I don't tell you. Well, who was the busier goalkeeper, Sean Johnson or Andre Blake in the first half? Sean John had more work to do. Doesn't matter.
Well,
second half,
right. So
NYCFC.
You tell me how it went then.
Second half, NYCFC blew open. Maxi Morales scored the goal, and that blew the lid off the game. And before you know it, NYCFC is now in charge all of a sudden. Now they're doing the thing. Andre Blake with a superhuman save, denying it, keeping it 1-0 on a Gordon Banks style save of the season. I mean, you got to see that replay of Andre Blake diving on the bottom right, superhuman save, and telling his players to calm down. There's still 30 minutes left, play the game. And then they got 2 goals. Two very crazy. Like the first goal was, it was a Philadelphia.
Well, it was a sub. We subbed. We subbed Keaton Parks in.
But it was Philly ball.
Philly had a free kick. We subbed in Keaton Parks.
And he dilly-dallied.
For Gabby Pereira, and they were figuring out their defensive assignments, and then Philly took it quickly, and everybody fell asleep.
Here, let me reenact it for you. Keaton Parks running on the field. La 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 la. Where am I? Where am I? Over there? I'm over there. And I was like, I don't know. Over there, maybe? Who knows? It's not like it's a conference final or anything. So he's jogging around, wondering where he's going. And Philly's got the ball. And look at the ref. Like, we can go, right? Why are we waiting? He's been on the field for 10 minutes already. He still hasn't made it to his position yet. And they're like, yeah, whistle, go. And then so he puts it forward to Julian Castrazo, what's his name? And the Carranza. And he comes in. There's a big hole back there because Keaton Park's still making his way over there. And they just get you right there on a free kick, kind of catch you kind of by surprise. But the reality is you need to put a little more pep in your step because it is a conference final. You do need to run to your position a little quicker. And that was the equalizer. You don't see that often. Essentially, he caught you by surprise on a free kick. And then 2 minutes later, they got you on a counterattack where Justin Hack was just watching the game like an audience member, like a supporter. He was like, hey, it's a cool soccer game going on. It's a cool soccer game. That guy's a good player right over there. He's just scoring right in front of his face. And it's like, hey, Justin Hack, do you think maybe you should have covered him or run to the ball maybe? And Sean John, should you have maybe charged him a little more? I don't know. They just had all the time in the world to just pick their spot and score the go-ahead goal. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, pretty much.
How defeated are you? How much do you hate me right now? How much do you hate me right now with my accurate?
I'm glad we're getting the Philadelphia Union perspective of the game. Please keep
I'm
at it,
too, baby. I'm watching some Sons of Ben.
Newly minted. I'm watching the birth of a Philadelphia Union fanatic right here on the show, emerging live in front of us. Please don't let me interrupt.
In all honesty, this is my point of view as a neutral. I mean, this is what I saw, and then Philly got their third, and that was sort of the end of it. I think I texted you at that moment. There was still like 15 minutes left, but it was 3-1. I think the game was over at that point. And NYCFC almost pulled one back, but 3-1 game and Philly won. But what I will say is NYCFC was a little sleepy there for a few minutes, so they let the game go, and there was some brain farting. I think on Reddit someone called it like a 5-minute brain fart, and I was like, yeah, I like that. I mean, I don't know. Now tell me from your perspective. I don't disagree with you. I think there was I had a different take on the first half for sure. I don't remember Philly having a lot of opportunity. I mean, I'm not saying we dominated, but I thought it was pretty nervy, very tense. And but I thought we hung in. I thought they didn't generate a whole lot. I don't remember Sean Johnson. I mean, there was that offside goal, obviously, where the place went wild, but he was very clearly offside, and it was immediately called back, and no. I mean, this is an example actually for what you were talking about before, because it's like it's an offside call. The guy raises the flag. They check on VAR. It's completely crystal clear. No, and then there's still the stadium erupts and fuck the ref. It's like people will be mad. Yeah, and then in the second half, I thought we came out very strong, and it had that sort of sense of, we are getting control of this game. We were combining very well, and then the goal was beautiful. It's like in every playoff game we've had one of those where these sort of team goals, where there's a bunch of good passing, and then laid it off to Maxi Morales, who was just a hero. In the playoffs, he scored many goals, even though he has traditionally not really been a scorer. Anyway, so then the celebration was very intense, and a little bit, I felt weird about that. I was like, this is a little too much. Like, and it did feel like, we think this is it, and I think the team has been very good in the second half. They've been very good defensively. And I think there was maybe a little, I don't know if it was overconfidence or a lack of focus or a loss of concentration. That goal came out of nowhere. At that point, we had that Andre Blake save. We had a couple more chances, and it looked like we're now in charge. And and it was exactly like you described. There was that substitution. They're figuring out who's covering who, and completely spaced out. Collins, who's had a great season for us, right, loses his man. Carranza, who people kept saying, Carranza. It's like I've watched him in a couple of games, and even on Sunday, I did not think he was all that. He did have, I guess he had that one shot in the first half that Sean Johnson had to save, actually. But I thought he was not very good against Cincy. Anyway, scores the goal, and then, second goal, exactly how you described Justin Hack as watching ball. That was the thing that I thought was really interesting and sort of gutsy. Coach Nick Cushing went on his own sort of full misdirection mission this week. He gave an interview with Glenn Crooks and said, Maxime Chenard, so that means we'll have to go back to the 4-2-3-1. Keaton Parks is going to start. Malta Amundsen is going to play at left back. He said all these things, and then that's not what happened. He played the same formation that he did the second half against Montreal with Justin Hack at center back, and Justin Hack actually was playing sort of a sweeper even. Right. He was further back than everybody than everybody else, and his assignment was to guard against balls over the top. They did not want to get caught out with balls over the top, with people running past their line, and so he was back there
And I thought it worked pretty well for the first half. I thought he played well.
Right.
But yeah, after the equalizer,
Traditionally, he's a defensive mid, right? He's not a center back.
He's a midfielder, not even.
Right.
I mean, he's kind of moved further back as his career has progressed. I think he was definitely an 8 or even a 10 when he initially, in his academy career, and then he became. I think he was more of an 8. Then he became a 6. And now he's a center back. Now he's a third. Now he's a third center back. And
what I will say though, when you guys look back on this game next year and when you look at old games, it boils down to things, moves, moments. I think this game will boil down to the Justin Hack experiment failing, right?
I don't think so, because it was not the equal. I think that it turns on the equalizer. I mean, I think the sequence where the game turns is the Andrew Blake save, and then the substitution barred equalizer. I think that's where things went wrong. If we go up to 0, this is done. If we don't give up that easy goal, who knows what's going to happen? And then on Reddit, people were criticizing Cushing for doing a sub on a moment set
when it was
piece. Yeah, people say.
I think it's a little unfair, right? I mean, I don't know. That happens. I see it all the time. So.
Well, no, people say you should not. You don't make subs on a corner kick. I mean, there is, and definitely they were just. I mean, it's not his fault that they were so slow to adjust, and of course, credit to Philly to think quickly and take advantage. So it's not like. I mean, it's not like I'm gonna troll Philly Twitter for a year now saying that we got robbed or anything. I mean, they won this fair and square, but it's not like it felt upsetting just because it's not like we really were outplayed over the course of the game. I felt like, especially after the lead, we were definitely felt like we were in control, and then we really just pissed it away. Very sad.
Yeah, because it's just so weird.
And on the second goal, I mean, just to finish the thought, on the second goal, it's Haak. Yeah, exactly how you're describing. Haak is ball watching, and the guy.
It happened in like slow motion, right? It was like slow mo. It was such a weird. It was so funny. Both goals were weird. It was like two weird goals.
But two goals really out of nowhere, like out of a pretty set defensive position. We have not given up a lot of those goals this season, and so. Right. So yeah, that's what hurts. It's just kind of if you felt like, oh, they were the better team on the night. I mean, they certainly were the better team over the season. Certainly they had the home field for a reason, and of course they should be excited. I mean, from their perspective, like what a night, and like you're saying,
I love hearing you struggle so much. You're just trying to bite your tongue right now, and you're like,
I don't have.
They were the dominant team on the night. They were. I know you don't see it as much as I do, but watching from the TV broadcast,
I don't agree. I don't agree with that.
Philly owned that game. It wasn't super dominant. It wasn't like a 5-0. But other than that burst, like you had about 50 minutes the second half.
Like at the 62nd, 63rd minute, you're going to be like, you're thinking like, oh, Philly's coming back.
After when you scored that goal, that made me like, oh, that was surprising because Philly owned the game up until that point. And then at that moment, it's like, hey, maybe NYCFC is going to smash and grab this one. Then 10 minutes later, Philly grabbed it back. And
we had 65% possession over the. We had more shots. Philly
makes sure of that. That's part of
the game plan. This is spoken like they made sure that we had more possession.
That's how Philly plays. They're a high press team. They want to have the ball.
All right.
You know that's how they play.
You're doing a very good job of being this new Union supporter. I'm excited.
Just neutral.
I'm excited for you to be neutral.
My point of view is that you're an NYCFC homer, and I'm just trying to bring it back to ground as a neutral. That's what I'm seeing right now. But what you're seeing is me being a Philly homer.
That's right.
right, well,
I see you as a person who's trying to ingratiate themselves with the people that he's going to break bread with on Saturday afternoon.
Hey man, I'm a problem solver. I'm not going to pay $700 to go watch the nosebleeds.
And if I have to support
from over there,
if I have to support a random team, no problem.
I don't have to support. I'll be there. I'll be standing there. It's not big. I'll be watching. I'll be all about it. Listen, but that's, I mean, I implore you to watch the full 90 and tell me I'm wrong. Like I was just watching on TV. But with that being said, it boils down to NYCFC having some key injuries, right? Maxime Chanot and Talis Magno. 2 players you could have. And Maxi Morales and I think even Haber were kind of doubtful, right? Weren't they playing with a little bit of a knock? He had some injury.
Maxi was doubtful. He played well. I don't think, Talis was out. That might have made a difference, but Chanot definitely would have helped. He would not have ball. But I mean, everybody's got injuries. Philly brought back Alejandro Bedoya, who clearly was not ready to play.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make. I don't know. I don't feel. I mean, injuries are what they are. That's fine. We had injuries last year. We had Keaton Parks out. We had Anton Tinnerholm out, who played great again yesterday. So we won MLS Cup with a bunch of injuries. Everybody's got something.
You made the conference final, which apparently has never happened since 2001 or something. I don't remember. So overall, you still had a good season. You were MLS Cup winners. You went straight to the Eastern Conference Final again the next year, which is apparently very rare. And you did it by losing your star player and losing your coach. I'd say overall, like Nick Cushing, and the second half of the season could have gone way worse. And it was headed that direction, if you remember. And then you turned it around and you figured it out and you started playing like NYCFC again. And you got yourself to the Eastern Conference Final. So I think, it's still a good season.
Where we were dominated by the Philadelphia Union.
Ultimate domination. Philly they were the home team. They were confident. They were playing their game. Philly was playing their game. They want you to have the ball so they can take it and run at you with it. And that's exactly how they scored their all 3 goals. So Philly versus LAFC preview, a lot of fun because LAFC is exactly what it is. LAFC wants the ball. They're very patient with the ball. They bring the ball up. And then Philly's going to be sure they have the ball because Philly's going to run at them, try to grab the ball in their defensive third and the LAFC defensive third, turn it on them, get them in the transition. It's gonna be a fun game, I think. LAFC, the team of millionaires, and Philly, the well-crafted team of journeymen and youngsters that they crafted into a pretty cohesive unit. Steve Cherundolo versus Jim Curtin. I think it'll be a fun game. LAFC is going to have possession. I'm sure of it. What they do with it, we'll see. Is that Nanette?
Oh, yeah, you can hear the cat. Hello.
Is Nanette hungry for MLS Cup?
I haven't seen her all day.
Oh, well, she's come by saying hi. Although in reality, I think that's her just being like, feed me, food, time for food, as cats are. Anyway, how do you feel about the season? Are you're going to keep Nick Cushing, right, for the new year? And who do you want in the offseason?
We'll find out. Yeah, there's question marks. It depends. The team is great. I think the team has been solid. We probably needed maybe another midfielder at some point or another number 9. We'll need some refreshments, and we're going to lose some people. I don't know. There's question marks. There's a lot of expiring contracts. Sean Johnson, Alex Collins, Maxi Morales, Anton Tinnerholm. These are all really important players, and they're not all going to come back, I don't think. So,
well, I think Maxi Morales, I think he's done with, right? He's 35 or whatnot. And
the team has an option for
Sean Johnson and Alexander Collins would be my priority. I'd sign them to new contracts ASAP. Alexander Collins, defender of the year, right? He's one of the best, if not top defenders of the year.
In my opinion, the perfect human.
So last but not least, who's winning, LAFC or Philly?
LAFC.
How much?
3-1.
LAFC 3-1. Okay. I mean, it's still 50-50 to me. LAFC at home, that might be the deciding factor. Might be the LAFC home crowd. I think I see maybe more of a 2-1 LAFC. 2-1, I think. So, yeah. We'll see if Philly can smash and grab this one, or will LAFC continue their destiny and be MLS Cup winners? 1 versus 1. We haven't seen this since 2003. My very first MLS Cup, my favorite MLS Cup. Such an exciting game between the Chicago Fire and the San Jose Earthquakes. A young Landon Donovan versus a young DeMarcus Beasley. It was such a fun game. San Jose winning that game 4-2. High scoring. So much fun. Hopefully this next weekend edition will be the same. Going at each other. Goals. You know, did I say 2-1? I'm thinking 4-3, baby.
4-3. All right.
7 goals. Let's do it. Cool. You have any thoughts on American soccer? And
that's it.
All right. MLS Cup coming this weekend. Jesse Marsch won against Liverpool, saved his job. Just a quick reference to that.
Yeah,
Weston McKennie's injured. Luca De La Torre is injured.
Matt Turner is a little injured. Yeah.
Let's switch from the best. Get healthy, youngs. Get healthy. Okay, this has been the American half of the Schnitzel Boys. Thank you for Michael, not Mike, 805, for cheering in, waving that German flag, which he will wave this weekend. If you see that German flag on the TV,
it's Michael. It's Michael. Honorary Schnitzel Boy, apparently.
Honorary Schnitzel. Maybe. We'll see. All right. Tell your friends and family, like and subscribe. Bye-bye. Till next week.